And good evening and welcome to or good day. It depends on when you're watching this. This is the very first installment of, well, we don't even have a name for it, so we're just going to call it the No Name Talk Show. I'm Mike Bonarski.
I'm Sean Sass.
And we're just going to talk about local sports, high school sports, which is kind of local.
Local, yeah.
Some NCAA stuff and some Major League Baseball since spring training is going on. So,
yeah.
You're a basketball guy.
I am. I'm a big basketball guy.
Tell us why. I mean, you coach a lot.
I coach in now. Starting this year, it's been two towns. I coach in Griswold, our hometown, and I coach in Norwich with a man, Leonard Miller, who runs a program out in Norwich. I coach with him. He's been giving me a lot of stuff to do with clinics. We do it all year round, so it's been a great opportunity to coach. I've loved basketball since growing up, so it's always been a big thing for me and my family.
Junior dad, right?
Yeah, my dad and stepdad as well. They both did. They big basketball guys, so that's where it all started for me.
So I know that you're also, like, you and your stepdad are big Sea Unicorn fans.
Yeah. Yes.
So I got to talk to Steve.
Yes.
Quite a bit last year.
Yeah.
At a Sea Unicorns game. So it was really, really cool. So I think this is going to be a fun show. Let's hope we're going to have different people come on the show from time to time. And so anyway, let's get right into it. Ding, 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 ding. That's the bad sound effects. So anyway, we just got done with the CIAC basketball tournament. Wow.
Yeah.
All I can say is there was one team that really kind of blew me away. And that was Ellington.
Yes.
There's a kid named Jack Curtis on that team.
Yep.
Who's only a sophomore. And he's already, from what I understand, getting offers.
Yeah, and
everything.
He actually, it's funny you bring that up because they won their championship this weekend. Yeah. And he was the leading scorer for them. He had 19 points. Just like you said, as a sophomore, that's a big thing to do coming out on a big stage like the arena at Mohegan Sun, and to perform like that in a big game and keep not only that but an undefeated season for your team.
Yeah, pretty crazy, and there was no stopping this kid.
No,
I mean, who do you think? Now, you sat and you watched all the games.
I did, yeah.
So, who do you think was probably the most unstoppable kid?
And a lot of people may agree with this, may not, but Abdu Torre, 5-star recruit coming out of Notre Dame West Haven. As a junior this year. So coming out, he has multiple offers from multiple D1 colleges. He was, every time he's on the floor, he never sits. He's not, they never take him out unless it's like 10 seconds left in the game or 10 seconds left in the half. Yep. He's an outstanding player in Division I basketball, which is for boys. They go by divisions. But, for him to he had 27 points in his game against St. Bernard's.
So why don't you go ahead and recap all of the we already talked about the Division 4, which was, well, kind of sort of. We didn't really talk about it. We talked about Jack Curtis and Ellington.
Yep.
They ran the gamut this year. They were the number 1 seed.
Yep.
All the way through the finals, and they defeated Sheehan, which... Did anybody think that the 23rd seed Sheehan was going to make it even to the semifinals?
And not even that, but for Sheehan to have not only their boys team to be in it, but their girls team as well. So both teams making the state championship. Only one, which we'll recap soon, is the girls coming out with the victory in that game. Mm-hmm. Is an incredible thing, not only for them, but for the school as well, to have both boys and girls playing. I believe they played on the same day as well. Yep. And being able to see that, the girls' side, the boys' side, be able to cheer for both of them was a great experience, I think, for Sheehan High School.
Same thing with Ellington.
Yes.
They had the boys and the girls as well. So, all right, why don't you go ahead and tell us, refresh us what happened with the state finals.
Yeah, so we'll start with the boys up top. Division I, we went over this a little bit with Abdu Torre. Notre Dame West Haven playing our local St. Bernard's team. Notre Dame won 68-55 in that championship game, which was the only rematch this year of any championship game that happened this weekend. They played each other last year, and it was the same outcome with Notre Dame coming out on top. Division II, which was last night, which was an 8:30 start time on Sunday night, was the best game of the weekend with Manchester and New London. 77 to 74. Yes, it was an outstanding game. While I was watching it on TV, a guy was there. He was filming it, doing a live stream on his phone. Outstanding, just not only on the court, but in the crowd as well. Crowd energy. Same thing with the St. Bernard's game. They had to, the first time, I believe, in five to 10 years, they've opened the second level for the finals games. There was over
for high school. There were tons of people there.
There was over 6,000 people for the St. Bernard's game on Saturday night. And last night they filled the entire bottom bowl. They almost had to open the top. But that was a big thing. New London played an outstanding game. A lot of great kids on that team. JJ Robinson had a great game. For them, it was just a tough, Manchester team who shoots 3-pointers like it's, like they're layups. Mm-hmm. Division III, Bunnell beat Fitch 70 to 61. So that's 3 ECC teams already in the mix for us. We had the most teams in our conference in the finals.
Well, even Division II.
Yeah.
The semifinals was New London against NFA.
And NFA, again, was, I believe, a 23 seed as well going into that game. But Fitch lost by 9. They started out really slow in that game. Came back and only, it was a close game towards the end, and they just fell apart. Once the ending came up for Bunnell, they were just easy on the boards. Defense was outstanding for Bunnell for that game. Division IV was, we were talking about, Ellington and Sheehan, 55 to 39. I think even going into that game, people knew this Ellington team is not to be, it's not a team to mess with. Yeah,
no, they're just too good. And when we went and streamed the game, Ellington against Griswold, Griswold played with them.
Yeah,
for the first half, right?
Yep.
After that, the wheels fell off.
Yeah,
and Ellington they showed who they are. And just the coach Freitas.
Yep.
Just a class guy, class team. So I'm happy for Ellington that they won. And it's always, when your hometown team, when they get bumped,
you
always want that team to win the whole thing.
Yeah, because you want your team to be able to say, "Hey, we held with these guys, and now they're the champions.
Now they're the state champs."
And Ellington is a big team that makes you play at their pace. They don't follow your pace. They don't try to even the paces at all. They make you catch up to them and play at their pace, which shows this entire, not only during the tournament but during the entire regular season as well. And then the last game we had was Division V, Shephog Valley versus Old Lyme. Old Lyme winning it last year. Did not the same scenario this year. 58 to 46, Shephog won. Shephog was also undefeated during the season. Old Lyme, there was no seniors that started. And there was,
so they'll be back.
They'll be back. They had a freshman core and a sophomore core. Eddie. Their main guy, Eddie, who scored 20 or 15 points in the game.
You know who that sounds like? Ellington.
Ellington, yeah. And that Eddie was all year. He helped them defeat Grosso Tech, which nobody thought was going to happen. Grosso Tech, very strong team under Tim Strong. Nobody thought that game was going to happen that way. But Eddie, as a sophomore, is proving to everybody that they can do this. And he was on that team last year that won it with Brady, who we've talked to. Through baseball, actually,
right.
Is 22 years old and already has a state championship as a coach, and then brought that same team back. With a younger squad. They have this kid, Will. I got to talk about Will because Will is about 4'11", okay, as a freshman. He had 12 points in the semifinals games, all on 3-pointers against against the tallest kid on Grosso Tech. He comes into the championship game. He does the exact same thing. So they have a bright future coming into there. Ryan Hill, same thing. Freshman, didn't start most of the first half. Second half, came in, and he's been on that team ever since. So that is the whole, for the boys, that's what we have, Division 1 through 5.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and you're going to go through the girls' team?
Yeah, yep.
All right, we're the No Name Sports Show. For now.
For right now.
We'll be back after this.
I like it.
No name. Got no name. welcome back to the No Name Sports Show because we just haven't thought of one yet. So, Mike Minarski,
Sean Sass,
and we've already talked a little bit about high school basketball, the Connecticut state championships. We already went through them, and now Sean, we're gonna zip through the girls.
Yep. So the girls, a little different. You'll hear classes instead of divisions. They switched it for just the boys. They put 5 divisions. This one is all classes. We start with Class M, which was an ECC matchup: Bacon versus Wyndham. Bacon came out 39-25 over Wyndham. Bacon also winning the ECC championship this year over NFA. Great game by honestly on both sides for them. It started out as a very close game. Nobody thought Bacon was going to come out as the lower seed and start out hot. They went on like a 10-0 run in the first couple of minutes. And then Wyndham started, pushing their way back. And it really, as an ECC matchup, they've seen each other before. They've played each other, so they know how each team plays. It's not like a lot of these teams who haven't played against each other this year.
No, and Bacon Academy, the girls teams, they're really good.
Yes.
Basketball, they have a really good soccer team. Between them and Stonington, they went back and forth. They have a really, really good girls program.
Yeah, and it was
big. And usually the guys too. It's just I think they're rebuilding right now in a lot of ways. So.
And it showed, when they won the ECCs against NFA, they had an outstanding game. Then they come in to, again, the Mohegan Sun where they play ECCs and states, play that game, and they come out the exact same way they left off in the ECC championship, which was a month a month before that.
Right.
So that was the Class M. We're not going in any order really, but Class L, Northwest Catholic against Bethel, which Northwest Catholic was 56-40 over Bethel.
Don't mess with those Catholic schools. I'm telling you right now, don't mess with them. They're going to be in the finals everywhere.
Yeah, and then you have Class Double L, Sacred Heart Academy, 57 over Southington, 47.
Don't mess with those Catholic schools. I'm telling you, don't mess with them.
Every year, even their boys team a couple years ago, Sacred Heart had an outstanding. I can't never forget this kid's name because it reminds me of the Lion King. His name is Mufasa. It's 100%.
Maybe it was named after. Who knows?
So he was an outstanding basketball player years ago for Sacred Heart, and they made it multiple years.
My son just named their son, my grandson, Easton. I went out there to Kansas to kind of, to meet the baby and everything. It was really great. My son, who's kind of a crackpot himself, looks at his wife and goes, "What are we going to name the next one? Weston?" She just gave him the evil eye and stuff like that. I'll tell you, though, this boy's got lips.
Yeah?
Woof. He's got lips.
Your second one, right?
It's my second grandson, yeah.
So... hey, it's a trend. Maybe you got Northwest.
Yeah.
You got Northwest. Yeah.
Speaking of Northwest, wasn't Northwest Catholic in there, sir, or East Catholic?
East Catholic, yeah, East Catholic. So we had Sheehan, the second Sheehan team to come in.
Don't mess with them Catholic schools. I'm telling you.
But Sheehan came out 56-51 over East Catholic in a 5-point game. Very strong.
They got people behind them in high places.
Very strong performance by Sheehan. The boys, like we talked about earlier, weren't able to come out with that. Their win, playing a tough Ellington team, but Sheehan, the girls brought a state championship back home to them. So they have one in the plat. They have the runner-up, and then they have the championship right next to it. And then the last one was Class S, Coventry over Morgan, 49-38. Big game for Coventry. Another one that hasn't, been around. We haven't heard a lot about Coventry. Came out, beat Morgan, and brought that state championship back home as well. So overall, great weekend of basketball at Mohegan Sun for the state finals. It's over. Basketball is done for high school. We're moving into baseball, softball, track, all those. Lacrosse. It's basketball season. I feel is the longest season of them all because, if you think about it, because football, it seems like it goes by real quick because it's once a week,
Yeah. And there's definitely more basketball games. The regular season, they're playing 20 games. Then they have the conference titles, which are 2-3 games, and, 4 games for states, depending on where you're at.
Yep.
So it's almost 30 games that they're playing.
Yeah.
So
and they're playing at least 2 to 3 a week, so it's like you just feel like you're already there. You're at the same, didn't I already watch this game, or wasn't I just here yesterday?
Well, next year they're going to do two things. I heard they're going to have one bracket for just the Catholic schools and then everybody else.
And that's going to be a strong bracket.
Pretty strong.
That'd be a really strong bracket for them, but it's fine. It's come to an end. Of not even just that, but rec basketball. It was a history making season as well. With Griswold.
Whoa. Not only do we not have a show name, we don't really have good chairs.
It's brand new. We're working on it. We just got the table wobbles. It's all right. We get there.
I've got a cup. It's backwards lettering.
But
anyway.
But we talk about Griswold had an outstanding year.
Yeah, they did.
Not even just at the beginning of the year, they beat NFA, who nobody saw that one. NFA.
I don't know. I disagree, Sean. I really disagree. I think it was definitely something that I felt that they could have did, and they did beat them. I think NFA at the end of the year, though, they were pretty pissed. And they wanted to, they needed that extra dub to get into the states, and and Griswold didn't really need to win. I'm not saying Griswold laid back.
Yeah.
But yeah, the NFA took it to him.
I think just looking at the history,
St. Bernard's was crazy.
Yeah, the St. Bernard's is just a powerhouse in itself. I mean, you have Amir Gray, Manguel. You have the Marshall brothers. One of them's only a sophomore, and he's already dunking off the backboard. He's already doing all the tricks.
Manguel, for God's sakes, it's either his dad or his uncle is a coach.
Yeah,
for crying out loud. So he's always got it coming through. Really nice guy. I met him, when we go to Wyndham.
Yep,
and do some games there. So,
but yeah, you look at those kids. I mean, Amir, this was his last year. Amari last year. Amari reached 1,000 points during the tournament, the ECC tournament. He hit us 1,000th career point. I believe it was on a dunk too, which is just a way to do it.
Why not? Do it on the flush, man.
But his brother's coming up now too. I think his brother's actually a little bit taller than him too, and he's a sophomore. So that program's not going anywhere anytime soon. Griswold's isn't going away. You have middle school coming up. A lot of great names. My dad actually talked to Coach Molesky. He said, "Coach, when's the 6th?" They grew up together. They went to school together. He said, "I don't know, this middle school team coming up. I got to stay with them."
You know what? There's a kid that's going into 8th grade. He's 6'3".
Yeah,
and he's a good player.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's high school basketball. Spring is coming up with baseball and softball. However, we're not done with basketball yet. We got the NCAAs. We're going to talk about that just for a couple of minutes, and we'll be back in a minute right here on whatever show this is.
Sports.
All right, we're back in the show that has no name. Sean just kind of dubbed it a name, though.
Sports.
Sports. I guess so. All right, the NCAA bracket was just released. They were all just picked yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, as of this taping, they were picked yesterday.
Yep.
Sometimes, you look at the brackets and like, no way. No way. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But sometimes you go, all right. So the first thing I want to talk about is UConn. UConn, they got an 8-9 game.
No, nobody saw that one.
Against Oklahoma.
Yeah. That's going to be a tough game for UConn. So, they just lost to Creighton in the Big East, which was, sorry to say it, UConn fans, I'm a UConn fan as well, so I can say it, was a terrible game for UConn.
So they could have been a 6.
They could have. They could have avoided the 8-9 game if they beat Creighton and if they won.
I think the 8-9 games are the best ones to
talk
about.
They are.
They honestly, especially in the first round. Over in the West, that is the West. In the South, the 8-9 game. Guess who? Louisville and Creighton. Creighton's got a 9 seed.
Yeah.
And UConn has an 8 seed. So
don't you find
makes
it
sense of
funny
that
that
to me.
we're in the Big East, but on the bracket we're in the West?
Yeah, that always happens because you got to put them somewhere. Because like in the South, Auburn is the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Auburn's in the South, right? So you got to do that. But I don't understand Florida being the number 1 seed in the West bracket.
Like
Even in the Midwest, I think would have made it a little more. But especially when in the Midwest, it's Houston.
Yeah.
But both teams were 30-4 in the regular season. So what do you do? And then the other is, of course, Duke, 31-3 on the season. So who's your Final Four, Sean?
See, Final Four is always tough for me because I want to go, I always go to number 1 seed. Everybody looks, it's going to be the 1 seed. It's going to be the 1 seed. But once the 1 seed hits the Elite 8, it gets tough. It gets tougher for them.
Yeah.
I can't, and we talked about this too. My Final Four is the hardest one. I can pick my championship, and that's Florida automatically I have in the championship. Florida has a great team, great year all around, stayed healthy. So they're going to play, they play very well on the court and as a team. But then it's between Duke and Wisconsin. Wisconsin always shows up somehow. No matter
They're bringing the cheese, baby.
They always no matter what seed they're in, Wisconsin shows ends up in either the Final Four or the Elite 8.
That was kind of like Gonzaga in years back.
Yes.
It's like, who was Gonzaga? Well, there's some small little college up in Washington that still had wooden bleachers at the time. And all of a sudden they became a powerhouse. So
I look, the biggest impact for me, and a lot of people will probably agree with this, is Cooper Flagg's injury. He didn't play in the tournament. He didn't play during their conference tournament. He was out with a leg injury. He actually was in a wheelchair going back into the locker room. He's cleared to play in the tournament. Does that mean he's 100%? I don't think so. I think that's a tough injury to come off of. So, which is kind of why I'm iffy about, does Duke take it this year? It depends on how he plays all the way up to the Final Four.
So I'm going to talk Final 8.
Okay.
And no one's going to agree with me. Absolutely no one's going to agree with me.
Okay.
But when you start this season, the season of March Madness, the 3.5 weeks of just craziness, it starts over.
Yeah.
It's completely new. You don't know who's going to be who, especially at this level. You have some elite teams, but you're going to have the ones that are going to come through just because maybe they've been there before, like UConn, baby.
Yeah.
UConn. They're looking for a three-peat. I think they make the Final 8. I think they take Florida out. I think they take Florida out. I think they beat Oklahoma. And then I think they beat Florida. I do. Then I think Florida goes to the Final Four. That's where I think the run's going to go. Oh, no.
UConn. I was going to say. I was going to say, wait, you can't have them lose to go to the Final Four.
Yeah, I don't know. So, no, that's right. They lost, but because they won two championships in a row, they're going to say, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's all right. No. So I'm going to go with UConn over Florida to go to the Final Four out of the West. How do you hate Michigan State? How? You just don't. And then watch the dark horse Ole Miss. What are you smirking for?
Because I was thinking about Ole Miss too. Right when you said that, I was thinking about Ole Miss because Ole Miss has Ole Miss has a great basketball team this year. It may not look like it and where they are in the bracket. They have a great team, and they could shock a lot of people in this tournament.
So Ole Miss and Michigan State, who wins?
I gotta say, I really like Michigan State. The Spartans, but I gotta go with Ole Miss.
I'm taking Ole Miss
because
going to the Final Four out of the South.
I think Michigan State has a great team.
Yep.
I don't think they have and this may not make sense, but I don't think they have a tournament team. Yep. If that makes sense, I think they're a regular season team, conference season team, or conference championship team. I don't think they're a March Madness tournament team. going into. I don't see them going past. If they do win against, win this game, I don't see them getting past the next, the second round. You
have Michigan and Michigan State in the same bracket.
Yes.
Okay, so that could be. They could actually be. In the Final Four. The way the bracket is set up. How about Lipscomb? The number 14 seed.
Oh, yes.
Where the hell are they from?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like Valparaiso. Where the hell are they from?
Yes.
Indiana. But I think the one game that I think it's going to really kind of change the entire look of this bracket right here is Auburn obviously is going to beat whoever plays them, whether it's Alabama or St. Francis. Auburn, Creighton's tough, man.
Creighton is tough.
Creighton is very, very tough. I think if they do beat Auburn, which on paper is a long shot. Get out of my notes, man.
Sorry, I'm just looking. Now I'm thinking about the Ole Miss pick, and I'll tell you why in a second.
Okay.
Once you're done.
So I think it really, really. I know I can't be a wuss and sit here and go, well, it depends on this game, and how Auburn, if they can kind of skip up, but I think they lose to Creighton.
Yeah,
I do, but I think Ole Miss comes out of this bracket.
Okay,
Bad.
So now re-looking at it, and that's why I was looking at Mike's notes. The game Ole Miss has to play is either North Carolina or what's the other team? I can't even.
Ole Miss?
Yeah. Don't they play it? Or is that
no? Ole Miss gets the winner of San Diego, North Carolina.
Yeah. So North Carolina is a tough tournament team.
Well, they're an ACC team.
Yes.
They've been tough every year.
But that's if they come out of that. They come out of that playing game.
That's a 6-11 game.
Yeah. Do I see Ole Miss having trouble with North Carolina? Yes. Do I see Ole Miss winning still? I do. It all depends on how North Carolina plays. If they're playing really well, it's going to be a tough game for Ole Miss because once North Carolina has that up, they're always picking up the pace with that. And that they struggle, and Duke struggled against them again in the ACC. Ole Miss, I agree with you, goes, I say, into the Final Four. If
no, who comes out of the South?
Who comes?
I put it out there, and people are going to go. People are going to watch this, and they're going, "Oh, Miss."
They're going to everybody's going to say Auburn because they're the 1 seed, and that's a lot of.
You know how often the 1 seed actually.
And no offense to everybody because I've done it too, but everybody goes, "Oh, Auburn's the 1 seed." They played well.
So why don't we just say, okay, Auburn, Florida, Duke, and Houston. Okay, that's it. Those are the 1 seeds. Thank you very much. Good night.
Yeah, that's everybody. A lot of people do that, and I love to see the people who their bracket gets busted day 1 because of that. Because of that scenario right there. I say, I agree with Ole Miss.
No.
Okay,
go ahead.
I agree with Ole Miss going in the Final Four because I agree with Florida coming out of the West. East, it's going to be tough. I mean, Duke and Wisconsin is the 2 teams I'm looking at. Wisconsin would have to play Duke to go into the Final Four.
Yeah.
If they both make it that far. I think Wisconsin comes out with it, and I think they make it to the Final Four over Duke.
Okay, so we're in the East now.
Yes.
Okay.
Midwest.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh, you're in the East still?
Well, no. Yeah, I hadn't said anything about the East yet. So,
sorry. I got excited.
I don't really know. It's I don't know anybody in there that can beat Duke. I mean, maybe Wisconsin. That's it. I think Duke stays in the East. Midwest, Houston, all the way. They're going to run it.
I've always Gonzaga is
I know.
It's the tournament.
I mentioned that earlier.
The tournament team is Gonzaga. Everybody knows Gonzaga, but Texas has a play-in game. I just realized against Xavier.
Gonzaga is a tournament team.
I'm going Gonzaga.
Okay. Wow. There's one thing I totally overlooked in the West. the Red Storm, St. John's.
Yeah.
The 2 seed. So that may really bust my bracket, but
Wasn't Central Connecticut in here?
I didn't see them.
No, I thought they made it.
No, I don't know. So what are your what are your final 4 picks? Those are ours. We'll post them in comments too, and we'll see what you think. But be back in a minute to talk a little Major League Baseball spring training, mainly Red Sox Yankees, because that's what matters. Be back in a minute with the No Name Talk Show.
Sports.
All right, welcome back to the No Name Talk Show.
Sports.
I'm Mike Minarski.
I'm Sean Sass.
And so we're going to talk Major League Baseball a little bit right now. I'm a Boston fan. He's a Yankee fan.
I'm already upset.
So I'm gonna mention one name, and I think you already know where I'm going. But let's see what you got. What do you got to say? Ready? Boom! Garrett Cole.
Yeah, I mean, right when I saw it, I was like, oh, he'll be fine. He'll be all right.
He's not.
He's not. He's out for the season.
And maybe next year.
And yeah, with surgery.
He may be done.
Don't say Mike. Mike, don't say that to me right now. This is why, and a lot of people I've talked to about this, I hate spring training for 2 reasons. One, there's no need for it. Okay? There's no need for spring training. Okay? I understand you guys want to see the AAA guys, the AA guys, see what they can do in the majors. It doesn't help when you pull the major league guys out and put those people in because the other team's doing the same thing. So they're just playing the exact same people they've already been playing.
Yeah, but they got to get ready. They got to ramp up for the season. So there is, it is worth having a spring season.
Okay, but then the injuries come into play.
But believe me, do you really think that the Yankees are the only one that have gotten nipped by the injury bug?
They just got another one today.
Who's today?
Paul Goldschmidt.
The guy they just got?
The guy they just picked up.
The first baseman?
Yes. Oh, he hurt his back on a diving catch.
Well,
that's why I'm saying I hate.
Now you know why they show the AAA team, because that's who's probably going to start for the Yankees this year.
Yeah.
So as far as the Red Sox are concerned, you want to talk about injuries. What about Lucas Giolito?
Yeah.
They signed a 2-year contract. This is his second year. He hasn't thrown a pitch for Boston yet, and he's injured again.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for you. Ready? Trevor Story to go back on the DL. This time probably for a hangnail.
Trevor Story is
he's made out of balsa wood, I think.
I think not just being a Yankees fan, but when the Red Sox got him, everybody's like, yes, Trevor Story. Like great shortstop, this and that, and then he didn't play, and I was like, "Oh, like what happened to Trevor Story?" And then I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, Trevor Story got hurt again," and then he got moved down to the AAA.
Yeah. Then
he got moved back up. And he just kept going up and down.
Hold on a minute. Who are you talking about?
Trevor Story went down to AAA.
When?
He went down either last year or 2 years ago.
Oh, for reyab?
Yeah, but then he came...
I'm thinking, wait a minute. Did you know who Trevor Story is?
But then he came back and got hurt again. So he did his rehab assignment, and then he came back and got hurt again.
What happened? Splinter. So also, that's injured right now was last year's Gold Glover for Red Sox, Wilyer Abreu. Yoshida, he's back in.
Yeah.
Bayo, starting pitcher. He was supposed to be their ace last year. Carter Crawford is out. So you guys aren't the only ones. Patrick Sandoval. I don't understand. And please help me understand. I don't get this. It's like, okay, the guy's on the rack already. It's like, well, let's give him a 2-year contract. And
I thought he retired, to be honest. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
I think he really did. And
they just have him on the roster still.
Yeah, but he's not going to be ready apparently until they signed him last year. As a free agent, and now he'll welcome to Boston, Patrick Sandoval.
Well, also welcome to Boston, Alex Bregman.
Everybody named Sandoval doesn't work for Boston. Remember the third baseman they got?
Yeah, you excited for Alex Bregman?
I am.
Yeah.
You know who's not? Rafael Devers.
He is not. He is not excited.
He's not thrilled about it at all.
If I were them, I'd put Devers at third and put. Hold on.
I know you're going to say Bregman at second.
Yes. Because now both of them are happy, all right? Bregman won't hurt his arm anymore trying to throw from third. Devers, he's let him live out his third baseman career before he just goes to DH like David Ortiz did, okay? Because they
took Ortiz off first base.
Yeah.
He was a first baseman, and then...
But that's where it's kind of heading. It seems like it's heading that way for Devers, too. He was at third. Now he's going to be just DH because I think he's better hitting. Just hitting.
I think he's going to be your DH for most of the year.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. I think the thing the player that they really need to see if they can squeak out is Yoshida.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with this guy? Because, they have the big three prospects that the Red Sox have. And one of them, I think they want to put Christian Campbell at second base.
Yeah.
They have a lot of trade chips that they could also use to get pitching.
Yeah, they have. I mean,
and I don't mean the big three prospects that the Red Sox have right now. So here's the one thing about the Red Sox that there's some big question marks. Who's going to close?
Yeah,
I think they had put Cutter Crawford into that role, but he's hurt.
Didn't you get Chapman though?
They don't. I don't think they want him to close. I don't think he. I mean, they may use him as a closer.
Yeah,
but I think they want him for eighth inning, seventh or eighth inning.
And he
doesn't have that punch anymore like he used to.
No, he never. Once you left the Yankees, and he went. He left us to go to Texas and won a championship with them.
Yeah,
he didn't really have that punch then either because they had Jose Leclerc. As their closer, who's a great young, closing pitcher. So they used him, like you said, as a setup guy for Jose Leclerc. Unless, Jose Leclerc just threw the night before, then they'll put Chapman in.
Yeah.
But other than, Chapman, as he's getting older, he's losing that, losing that fastball speed, losing all of that, when he hit 105, he's not getting up to those numbers as much. He still hits them, but he doesn't hit them as often as he used to.
Yeah. I don't think that the Yankees are going to be as competitive this year.
No.
And I don't think, you ready?
Yes.
It's not because they lost Juan Soto.
No. It's their pitching.
I don't think Juan Soto is a difference maker. I think he'll hit a lot of home runs, and that's great. And he'll put asses in seats. But I don't think he's a difference maker when it comes to winning games for the New York Mets or even for the Yankees.
Yeah. If it comes down to, for me, it comes down to, and my dad and my grandpa are the two of the biggest Yankee fans I know, is the bullpen. Okay. We struggle with who comes out of the bullpen. Last year, it was, all right, Stroman throws a perfect game, or throws a no-hitter against the A's. The next game, he struggles. So who do we bring in after that? That's not going to,
You're talking Marcus Stroman.
Yeah, Marcus Stroman. Now they want Stroman to come out of the bullpen, but he won't do it. He's already told them, if you're not going to start me,
him and Devers been hanging out together.
Yeah, he said, if you don't start me, I'm leaving. Is basically what he said to the Yankees organization. He doesn't want to be a bullpen guy. He wants to be a starter, which at this point with Garrett Cole out, he may have to be a starter. But you look at Clay Holmes, who was their closer last year. My dad and we look at each other every time he comes in and we go, well, now it's just up to hopefully they don't hit the ball, because Clay Holmes is not a closer. He never has been that closer,
Yeah.
He's a middle relief to a setup guy. The guy I think they should put at closer is Loaizaga, the young pitcher. He has the heat. Yes, I know they want him to get more pitches in. I know they've been trying to get him more pitches. But as a closer, if he only has to throw minimum pitches, that'd be very helpful for that, not only for him, but for the bullpen as well. Because if they need him to come out of that closing spot, he can do it still.
Yeah.
But it's if he starts to struggle, who do they put in now? I think that's where they're looking at. And then you look at, who we got.
Even Mark Leiter's day to day.
Yeah.
So, you know who else I don't think? See, I think past Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Who do y'all have for superstars?
So Ben Rice just came.
Stanton's out,
No,
and I think
Stanton's
his days are over. To be honest with you,
and I've always said Stanton's a better hitter when he plays in the field, but as of this point, he's not going to play in the field anymore.
No. And he batted what, 180, 190 last year?
Yeah. Ben Rice is a kid who came up last year for us later in the season. He came back to spring training like very bulky as a catcher. You know, it's if they use him because they have Austin Wells at catcher as well. Ben Rice has been playing a lot of first base.
Yep.
You know, just like how Joe Mauer used to switch on and off.
Yes.
You know, he's been doing a lot of first base. So Austin Wells is is the catcher for the Yankees right now. That's it. You know, he has power. He hits the ball well. But Ben Rice, when he came in, he hit the ball very well, and he was very consistent on hitting. Another one is not even just one Cabrera, both Cabreras that we have, Oswaldo and both Oswaldos. That's what it is. Oswaldo Cabrera and Peraza. Those two young athletes, outfielder, infielders, you know, they can play either one, but they have speed. And that's what the Yankees are not known for is speed. Right. You know, I can't name, you know, looking at the Yankees past, they never had a guy who can, you know, steal as well as, you know, as other teams. They didn't have like that Trey Turner or you know, none of those guys. They just have guys who can hit the ball. That's it. You know.
So who wins the American League East?
American League East, I'd go Orioles.
Again, huh?
Yes.
But they lost a lot of players.
I believe, you know, because you look at the Red Sox Yankees, you know, it comes down to, you know, who out of those two teams stays the healthiest. You know, if the Red Sox can, you know, get out of their injury where they are now and stay healthy, I see them being a very close contender with the Orioles. The Yankees, and as a Yankee fan saying this, I don't see them making that big of a push without Cole. You know, because now we got to take somebody from AAA.
I think the Yankees are a third or fourth.
Yes.
Finishing team.
Yes.
Third or fourth place.
And I think, you know, that's going to be the toughest. You know, it's kind of going to be a rebuild year for the Yankees.
I think it's going to be Red Sox Orioles.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
I agree.
And the Red Sox seem to love the wild card.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could be it too. Next year, different story. That's a story for another day because they're going to get Vlad.
Yeah.
So, anyway. All right. So, that's our look at things for right now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you. This was fun.
It was
a lot of fun.
I haven't had this much fun in a long time.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we'll have other people that'll be coming in, you know, filtering in and out that have, you know, different knowledge bases and you know different in different sports. So we hope y'all like this one, and we don't have a name yet. So, but we'll see you later.
Sports.